start it. All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, hello. This is Ignacy and Stephen, Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 216. And we're recording it on November 10th, 2021. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And I have more reasons to mock Tom Vassell. Tom hated the recent Marvel movie, The Eternals. Hated it. It is not possible to hate MCU movies. Mild dislike, maybe, but shame on you, Tom Vassell. Have you seen the movie yet?
No, I haven't seen it, but I saw very polarized opinions, and it always makes me thinking how we can easily accept that somebody likes James Bond, somebody prefers Jason Bourne, somebody likes DC, somebody likes Marvel, and then there is a review of the board game, and everybody, oh, this board game sucks because somebody said the game is not good. Like we understand the different tastes in music, different tastes in movies. With board games, if somebody said the game is not good, it means it is not good. It doesn't mean it's his opinion. Yeah, it's always fun. Of course, I was for the past few weeks. I was especially looking at the feedback on Dune movie. It is not my movie, but I was lots of emotions toward this movie. Sure. And I saw some people too long, some people too boring, some people amazing, some people visionary. Like we all have different tastes, and it's brilliant and beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I have not seen The Eternals yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. You know, this is now Marvel's, MCU version 2, right? They've got to now bridge from what they've done in that epically amazing 21 movie story arc, which will never be done again, really. I just can't ever be done again, to now something new. So I'm sure this is a setup, setting up the characters, the concepts, and the things that'll take them forward for the next 10 plus years. So I'm excited to go see it, and I'll give you my short review. I've seen some good reviews too. Some like things like what I'm saying, that they're setting themselves up.
I have trust that those people can do an epic movie, like they proved for the past 10 years that they know their job.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us really what is happening over at Portal Games.
Everyone is driving me crazy, and by everyone I mean gamers. They drive me nuts. What happened is that we had to reopen the pledge manager for Robinson Crusoe that I so proudly announced last week that we are closing it. It's done. You missed the offer. And then my production manager, Greg, told me, Ignacy, there is almost 1,000 people who haven't filled yet the shipping information, all the things, because they're lazy, because they're not checking the newsletter, because I don't know. And we cannot close this pledge manager because then our customer service will get crazy when they finally discover that they didn't fill it up. So yes, I'm sorry to report that you still have a chance to go to Pledge Manager for Robinson Crusoe. And on the one hand, as always, I try to provide the news in a silly and entertaining way. On the other hand, if we always try to educate and provide some value, message to all of you who are backing any Kickstarters, you are making a lot of trouble to these publishers who want to move on, who want to close the one step of the production and move to the next step. And just by you being lazy or busy or not checking the newsletter, you are making the whole process start to tremble. So yeah, on one hand, my sales team is happy. Hey, maybe we'll sell more Robinson Crusoe. On one other hand, I want to be done. I want to close it, move on, move to the next project. So yeah, a little bit of good news that you can guys jump in, and a little bit of bad news. Hey, fill these stupid shipping informations, finish the pledge, and let us produce the game. So that was the news of the week. Me canceling the announcement from the last week. my brag of the week. I'm lucky to have something interesting today. Z Garcia, the Dice Tower, put the Dreadful Circus, our SN release, onto his best gifts for Christmas list. The Dice Tower now is releasing these videos with the ideas for the gifts for the Christmas in different categories: expert games, cooperative games, etc. And Dreadful Circus was picked by V. Garcia. I'm very, very happy. He gave a glowing review of the game before, and now he picked it. Like, this is a great, great idea for the gift. So I agree with Z. Obviously, this is a great idea for the gift. The Dreadful Circus from Bruno Faiduti, silly game.
Great.
And then we have pre-orders and street dates. Yeah, Christmas season. We discussed this last week in our final scoring questions. Dune or Dreadful Circus or Pet Officer. These are your choices for this Christmas. So pick wisely or pick all of them. We will have a Black Friday offer, obviously, the tradition. So consider this as one of your Christmas gifts for your family, for your friends. As we mentioned many, many times, Dune might be your perfect gift because the game is super simple, rules-wise, and is entertaining, story-driven. You will have additional chapter set on Dune. As I said many times in this podcast, it tells the story that happens few months after the events from the movie. So if you enjoyed the movie, we tell you what happened next.
And by the way, I'm noticing that you're in your office right now and you have people walking behind you. Is that Marek back there?
There is a Greg, my production manager.
Oh, that's Greg. Okay.
Yes, trying to do photo bump here.
Hey, Greg.
His first appearance on your YouTube channel.
That's right. That was Greg's first appearance. I know Greg, but I couldn't see him while he was a little far there in the background. So anybody who wants to see Greg now, one of the production manager of Portal Games, you got to listen. We're going to watch it on YouTube. So go ahead. Sorry, Ignacy. Keep going.
And what's happening at the HQ? We just finished the mention the last week, marathon of playtesting 11, and I'm happy to say that I green lighted the base game. It is ready, it's done, and now we just have to do some dev on the expansion. But in terms of the 11, the base game, that was our Game Found campaign a couple of months ago, it's ready, green lighted for the production. So I'm very proud of my team and the designer himself, obviously Thomas Johnson. Great work from them. My dev is preparing along with me some surprises, some nice surprises for the Dune House Secrets, and we we mentioned this a couple of times over the years with Detective and other games. If the game has a website element, you can sometimes add additional content, change something, enhance some experience because it's so easy to update. You cannot update the game that is shipped to the players and is on their table. But if they have some web integration, you can surprise them. So spoiler alert, we are working on some small surprises for the Dune House Secrets Fund. So stay tuned. We will discuss it in upcoming weeks. And the last super secret, maybe I should put it in the last moment of the show. Stephen is always teaching me that we need to keep it for the last part of the show. So the last part I will keep for the end of the show. And video of the week, I recorded, as promised, a couple of new videos. Every day I'm recording new video. I discussed how FFG turned out my game, this dreadful story, how they did it. They refused my brilliant prototype. I also record video with spoiling 3 upcoming games from Portal Games. I gave no details, but there was a lot of spoiling and teasing. So if you like that kind of jazz, you can check out. So once again, 100 vlogs, 100 days, crazy experiment from me every day on Portal Games YouTube channel. I'm giving you something entertaining, and I hope you will enjoy that. And that is what's happening. Things are happening. Even it is like end of the year, even it should be slower, it is definitely not slower here.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, things don't really slow yet, but they will start, I think, soon, right? I mean, it usually during the holidays, everything does crawl a little bit more in the
it's of course it's super busy for the sales teams, like teams at the publishers. Like I see my team here in Poland, they are tired. They know this is this part of the year when you have so many phone calls, so many emails, so many invoices. Like everyone is now in this craziness. So this is what the sales team is expecting every year. This Q4 is a marathon, amazing, but very, very exhausting.
Right. So over here with the Podfather of Gaming, remodeling continues. The outdoor kitchen started showing up yesterday, right before I left for where I am now at the Dice Tower Retreat. The outdoor kitchen is basically, it's just a barbecue, but it's a bigger barbecue with a refrigerator, and it's going to be great during the winter here, especially because you spend like all the time outside in Florida at this time of year. It gets to
So
be
you
so
remember
beautiful.
we had a rule in this podcast that we don't discuss the weather in this period of time, like the fall
No,
season in Europe, we don't discuss the weather in Florida.
disagree. You may think it's a rule, but I will brag about the weather in Florida, especially at this time of year. It's amazing. So that's starting to arrive. The frame is in. They're going to be bringing the granite top soon. So over the next 2 weeks, I think it'll be done completely. I'll be barbecuing and I'll be teasing Ignacy because it'll be like a foot of snow on the ground in Poland. The bathrooms are coming along. The countertop got in the second bathroom. All the lighting fixtures and the mirrors are in. We're still waiting on a bunch of things, the glass especially, so the showers won't be working for a while. But progress is being made. It's looking great. Great. They look so good. But Ignacy, when you come to Florida, hopefully at some point in the future, yes, hopefully you can make it down. We're looking forward to having you stay with us for a little bit. I think it'll be wonderful. Hang out, have a good time, and I'll drink beer and wine with Mary while you drink tea. So that'll be great. What else as I mentioned, I'm here at the Dice Tower Retreat now. I'm in the hotel room. Love hotel rooms. Spend a lot of time here. Dice Tower Retreat starts tomorrow. Started yesterday, just in the evening. I was helping Tom hand out some badges and games to people. But now it's in full swing as of this morning, November 10th. People are now showing up from all over the country, all over the world. There's people here, some people coming in from Europe even now, which is kind of cool because the border's now open. So that's great. I really love the Dice Tower Retreat. If you ever get a chance, it's not a convention with vendors. This is literally like you get the Dice Tower library. It shows up here in Orlando. So you have all the Orlando stuff to do. So people have been here hanging out at Disney. We've been seeing people talking about that. It was funny. As soon as I got here, I pulled up in the Corvette, I parked, and I went in and I did some stuff. Then people were taking pictures of my car and posting them on Facebook saying, hey, maybe we're going to go for a ride here. Maybe this is the valet service to go over, the shuttle service to go back, to Disney. It was pretty funny. So I get to really see everybody in about an hour. Once we finish this, I'll go down and I'll be hanging out with the gamers the whole time. The rest of this month, I'll be traveling. So I'm here for the week. Leave here on Sunday, go back home. It's a 2.5-hour drive from where I live. We go back home. We have 1 day in Florida, get on a plane, go to Dallas for BGG Con for the week, stay through Monday there. I'm even staying like to the extra day, get on an early flight, go to New Jersey, and then spend a week with family in New Jersey. It's going to be a lot of gaming, a lot of, beer and wine over the next few weeks, but I'm really looking forward to this entire month of travel and having fun and gaming. And Ignacy, we'll be thinking of you because we want you back, at conventions, and hopefully next year we'll see you there at some of these. Right?
I want myself back too. So
there you go.
Yeah,
we're getting there. We're getting Ignacy back soon. And that's it for over here. It's we're having fun. We're experiencing the world again. Let's get over to the event deck. So we have some one and one only news story, and it's some more of that bad news stuff. Something we talked about recently, where I gave people the information that Keyforge and the issue there had to do with a ransomware attack. Well, guess what? Alliance Game Distribution, right, the largest distributors in North America, was hit by a ransomware attack. Their website, I believe, is still down, has been down for a week. The attack allegedly has been going on for a while, but they've brought the entire website down to rebuild it. I believe this is the exact story. Let me read exactly what they've posted on ICV2. Diamond and Alliance hit by ransomware attack. Websites, order processes are affected. Diamond comic distributors and Alliance game distributors were hit by a ransomware attack on Friday. That would be a week ago, but I heard it was even going on longer, which took down their websites and affected order processes and communications. The company informed at least some stakeholders on Sunday evening. Our IT department and team of third-party experts are working around the clock to address these issues and restore full operations. An email sent from business continuity platform Agility Recovery said, law enforcement was notified of the attack. Ransomware is a form of malware that locks access to data unless a ransom is paid. A number of high-profile attacks have taken place during this year, disrupting meat production, gasoline distribution on the East Coast. That was the biggest one probably that has occurred across the board. It was a huge event that occurred earlier this year, and other functions run by large companies. A survey reported by New York Magazine found that over half of ransomware victims this year paid to regain access to their information, but only a quarter of them regained full access. So think about that for a second. Does it pay to pay these criminals? It's bad. It's bad. Some functions are continuing while some of our systems remain down. Rest assured, we are continuing to ship product and fill orders to the greatest extent we can. Our retailer services portal is online and available for FOC. I'm not sure what that abbreviation is. Customer data and financial information was not stored on the network and has not been impacted by the attack. So really bad news for Alliance, especially at this time of year, because as Ignacy was saying, right, this is the sales time. This is what people are pushing sales through the system. And if they've got an issue with bringing in sales, this could have a very long-term impact on them. Ignacy, any commentary on this very bad news?
Yeah, I'm terrified, and we mentioned this a couple of times already, as always, because this podcast is recorded for so long. The industry is getting richer and bigger. There's more and more money involved, and we will face problems like the bigger industries. And the question is that if we as a companies will grow in professionalism,
Right.
in learning how to operate in the bigger markets, because let's face it, and we said it many times also, the whole industry started as a bunch of friends releasing games because they were geeks. Like the beginning of the Rio Grande games, let's face it, it was like just Joe, just okay, I love games. I will bring some of them from Europe to America.
Exactly.
And that was how it was starting. And we all were so trusting each other, and we knew each other. Stephen so many times mentioned, and it was absolutely true, friendly competitors. We were just hanging around in the bars, selling games, having great time. And now suddenly we are making bigger money.
Yep.
Suddenly the industry grew, and suddenly we are facing threats that we never thought it may happen. So it happened for portal games in a smaller degree, that we had some hackers destroying our website, and I sent my team for the, how you call it in English, the scholarship, like a training course about how to protect the passwords, how to change the passwords every couple of weeks.
Courses in security, IT security.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Sure.
yes. So I sent all my employees, but of course it's a small percentage of what we as a companies have to do to protect ourselves in this new environment that we are operating. So once again, I think that we need in upcoming years to see more and more professionals joining our industry in terms of the finances, security, etc., because we are no longer a bunch of friends. There is more sharks.
No longer only a bunch of friends.
Yep.
We are now a bunch of friends who are trying to grow a business, trying to grow an industry, and there are
our assets have more value now,
and our assets have more value. And this industry, when one company is now valued at 2 billion euro, right? As we talked about this, now we've got sharks circling us, looking for the vulnerability. And of course, this is every industry. The more valuable, the more people come after you, taking down oil flow, gasoline pipelines in the east coast of North America was the biggest one that has occurred. These attacks right now are not big from a national news perspective or a global news perspective, but these are substantial attacks, and they're going to continue. And I mean, just this week, having nothing to do obviously with this, the Biden administration announced that they were going to pay for like a lot of money, like it was like $15 million to information leading to to arrests of these criminals. So if someone out there can get information on exactly who these people are and they can get to them, they'll pay you millions of dollars, the US government. So think about that. So this is how big it is and how important it is to the US economy, to the world, for these people to be brought to justice. A lot of them are hanging out in Russia. Whether they're complicit with the Russian government is unknown. Hopefully not, but they are a lot of Russian hackers, but there's other countries are complicit in this as well. So really bad stuff. We all hope that some of these people can be brought to justice and we can increase our IT security on the various platforms we use. Just for personal people, back up your data. Just in general, it's always a good, secure your passwords, always a good idea. And with that wonderful news, but important news, let's get over to strategy and tactics. So Ignacy, we can take a bunch of questions today because we only had one news story, a big one, but let's talk first about Corey Mathis. You know, this is a question that we've taken a lot, by the way. He's at Liquid Force 18. It's about the number of copies that we print. And he said, could you touch a little on how you determine the number of copies of a game to manufacture for an initial print run? It seems like, especially recently, if you want a copy of a new game, you have to pre-order or wait for a second printing 2 or 3 months down the road because they tend to sell out within a few hours, especially with hot games. Currently on my wish list is comprised of sold out games: Maracaibo, Brass, Undaunted Normandy, Rallyman GT, Wingspan expansion, etc. So Ignacy, we talk about this a lot, but I think more than ever, and he even mentioned it. So Corey, you've mentioned the answer here. If you're looking forward to a game and it's a hot game, you got to pre-order it. You got to get it first. Get on the list and get it. Don't wait. Now, of course, not everyone's got a budget to buy every game, but at the same point, really, do you want every game? If you know of a game that you're absolutely going to want, you just got to get on the list, either at the friendly local game store, at the friendly online game store, right with the publisher. Nothing wrong with that, of course, as well. Whatever way you want to get your games, pre-order that game or get on that list before it's even out. Ignacy, anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I had a comment about that on our Polish forum this week, so this is a nice timing. And one of Portal Games fans here in Poland was saying why all your hot titles are sold out, why you are printing not enough, is it your strategy, etc. He was very angry because he missed the Polish edition of one
Sure.
of our games.
Sure.
And then I checked our website, Portal Games website here in Poland, and checked our releases in this year. And what was happening? Yes, we had, I think, 5 or 6 sold out. So the game just happened to be in a warehouse and it was sold out. Great success, champagne in the company, very happy. But besides these 6 or 5 sold outs, we had 20 games that are still in the warehouse, still not sold out. So your perception, you as a gamer, is all these hot items are sold out. Well, some games become hot items and sold out, but there is more of them are not sold out. And I can release a ton of games that we release here in Poland that are not sold out, and now they are sitting in the warehouse, and we have to pay for the warehousing. So if you ask me if I would decide to make a smaller print run, probably not, but we would consider being very, very cautious. So of course, you guys see everything is selling out. No, this is like a dozen, maybe 15, maybe 20 games that are selling out. And there is hundreds of games that are available, but you are not looking for them because you only look for these couple of titles,
right?
Dune Imperium, Gloomhaven, like we have these hot items, yes, and the rest is not the case.
Another part of his question is very interesting, is what goes into the decision-making process, because it seems like it would be extremely difficult to balance leaving a bunch of money on the table versus having your money invested in several hundred copies of a game that doesn't sell well. Well, Corey, several thousand copies. If a publisher has a few hundred copies left after, printing a game, that's great, big deal. But the problem is, you print a container load, let's say, of Ticket to Ride size boxes, and you can get like 7,000, 8,000 copies on that container. And if you only sell a couple thousand copies, you've got thousands of copies sitting there that you can't do anything with. We have to be conservative. We have to try to judge the market. What goes into the decision-making process is it's like reading tea leaves. It's hard. We have to judge what we've done in the past. We've got to judge what that title is, what we believe the buzz is going to be. There's no rocket science to it. It's simply giving our expertise to what we're going to do. And trying to, in these days, with the container situation, with the fact that costs of containers are 5 and 6 and 8 times more than they were just a couple of years ago, every one of these decisions is painful to us.
And once again, just to give the real live example, yesterday I was checking one of the online stores, no names called, to not give some commercial secret, and they have this Black Friday sale, and they list the games, and the next page list the games, next page list the game. There was 99 pages of the games they put on the sale for the Black Friday. And now the question for our listeners: are they putting these games on the sale because they want to give you money for free, or because these games are stuck in the warehouse and they have to move this stock because you are paying for this stock every single week or month, depending what your deal with the warehousing? Yep. There's so much cardboard stuck in the warehouses, and you guys are not looking for that. So these online stores or these publishers have to move it because it's becoming just the burden. This reality.
It's rough. Ulf Pearson, who's at Soulbender, each of your companies have changed vastly over the years. Stronghold started by bringing back out-of-print titles, and Portal has its roots in the RPG business. What company or companies would you say closest resemble today what your company was back then? Who has picked up the mantle that you had back then? What do you predict? What do you predict that the future will look like for them? Ignacy, is there a company out there that resembles what Portal game was like back in when you first started 20 plus years ago?
Of course, yeah. Of course, the situation is completely different, but the question is brilliant. It's very interesting. I was thinking about it, and what came to my mind is the company that we mentioned last episode, the Black Monk Games from Poland. It's a company that does role-playing games in Poland, Polish editions. They do Polish edition of Tales for the Loop, Polish edition of Call of Cthulhu, and many other role-playing games. So they're basically doing what I was doing, publishing role-playing games in Poland. But they stepped up their game, as we mentioned the last week. They merged, so-called merged with Chaosium, and now they are part of the Chaosium group. And now they are going to create expansions for Call of Cthulhu that will be published worldwide. And this is like Ignacy's dream come true. Like that is what I was doing back then. In 2001, we designed with Michael Orage the game De Profundis. We translated it into English. We sold out the license to a couple of countries. It was the first role-playing game in Poland license for the translation for the different markets. So Black Monk is doing what I was doing this 20 years ago, of course, with the new environment, and they are doing it amazingly well. Kudos to them. So they resemble a little bit of young Ignacy, and I strongly support them.
I'm going to say that maybe the one that most closely resembles Stronghold from, now it's going to be 11, 12 years since it was first formed, is the Grand Gamers Guild. Mark Spector, great guy. He actually did demoing for me, and he used to run like a group. He still does, or for his friends, run these at the Gen Con and Origins, where they get gamers to demo games for you at those conventions. And he started his own company called the Grand Gamers Guild, and he's brought back some games like Endeavor, which is a pretty big game, and that was his big title that he brought back. And now he's continuing with new titles and things like that. And he talks to me and asks me advice and stuff like that, very similar to the way I was asking like Zev, who was over at Z-Man, the original Z-Man, his Z-Man back in the day. So I would give kudos to Mark for trying to do similar things to what I did. Predict for the future for him, pain. It's a long, hard road in this market to start again and to do it again. But he's a smart guy, and if anybody can do it, Mark can do it. Good man. Good luck, Mark.
And Endeavor is amazing game.
Yeah, absolutely. He did a great job bringing it back.
Beautiful game.
Adi Narayan, who's Adi Narayan on The Geek. He says, hey, Ignacy and Stephen, I'm an aspiring game designer. I recently started listening to your podcast and Ludology. Good podcast. Enjoy them both, and it's great to hear your commentary about the state of the industry. My question is about licensing games for production in specific markets. In this case, India. How amenable are publishers to license rights of a game so it can be produced and sold in a developing world market for a significantly cheaper rate? And I ask this because, I really want to help expand the board gaming ecosystem in India. It'd be a huge boom if the folks there have access to games from the US and Europe. The main catch is that there are hefty customs duties on imported games, and common games can easily end up costing 30 to 40% more expensive in US dollar terms. The result is that all the games we know and love are much more expensive than the age-old Hasbro Parker Brothers titles. So, Ignacy, this is a very difficult question because we all want to, we want our games to be out there in the developing countries. There's a convention running right now or next week, right now in Africa, in Nigeria. Eric Lang is attending that one. It was kickstarted. It's great. They're trying to do that. India, China. These are countries that have lots of people, but it's really hard to get things going. The cost of doing business there is much higher. The income levels are much higher. Our games are just expensive. Do you think there's any way of us to be able to get more games in there? I mean, is it a matter of reducing production costs so they can get there, therefore reducing price? What do you think? Hard question.
This difficult question you mentioned. There is a couple of markets that in these markets, due to the law, there are some additional taxes, some regulations. And for us, for Portal Games in these markets, without giving some detailed names, but we negotiate with these local partners how we can help them, how we can make it easier for them in terms of the invoicing, taxes, etc., etc. So sometimes we try to help, but sometimes it is just impossible, and you cannot do anything. But yes, basically, we understand Poland is not a rich country as well. So we hear, we try to understand, we try to help. Just a simple example is that when we negotiate prices for the markets from the countries, like for instance, Czech is a very small country. For them, printing 1,000 copies is like printing 10,000 copies for Germany because of the population of the country. So without giving away too much about my strategy and numbers, we are willing to give them a little bit a better price, even if the print run is small, because we know that the, generally speaking, small print run like a 1,000 is a huge dedication on their side, comparing the size of the country. So yes, we hear, we listen, we try to help our partners. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it is not.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting question also, because he's also mentioning like printing locally in some of these countries. And sometimes that's possible, especially in China, right? So if we're going to, go into China and try to get a lower price, they can print there. Obviously, we print a lot there too. But in a country like India, do they have full printing manufacturing facilities for this? I don't even know. We never received any inquiries from an Indian publisher that I recall. So you have to remember also, a person who had, what's his name, Ari? I forgot. I apologize. Adi. We need a partner there that would actually want to take on the project, the risk, and all that. So there's so many factors that go into this. It's not just as like, okay, here we go. We're going to print. Somebody's going to go there, print locally, and we're going to sell them at a better price and things like that. So many factors, very difficult. We'd love to try to grow the market. Nathan Blaisdell, who's Blaze 0827 on the Geek, as an amateur board game designer, I'm curious as to what stage in development a game should be when it is ready to be pitched to a publisher. This is a great question. We've taken it before, but let's go a little deeply again for Nathan. Do I need a prototype? Does it need to be thoroughly play tested? Does it need art? The first two I plan to do, but I don't know where to begin getting art. If it varies, during what stage in development do you usually prefer to pick up a new game design? Just a ballpark. What percentage of games you pick up and in what stage? I got some opinions there, Ignacy, but why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, first of all, it has to be working prototype. We don't take ideas for the games, we take
Right.
the games. This game doesn't have to be balanced, it doesn't have to be fully developed, but I need to play with you and I need to have a fun. If there is nothing like that yet in the game, we're not discussing anymore. We don't need an art. Also, the art helps, and by art we don't mean that you need to commission the art. You can just use the placeholders from the internet and have fun. I recorded yesterday on my vlog, so this is once again perfect timing. Vlog episode. I strongly recommend you to check it out. When I discussed how COVID changed how the development teams work, and I showed the example that with Tabletop Simulator, we receive more and more prototypes submitted through the TTS, like a e-prototype.
Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah,
right.
Which is super convenient for the young designer, because instead of cutting 20 prototypes and gluing them and sleeving them and then shipping them, what they cost to 20 publishers, he has one link. He sends this link to 50 publishers with no cost whatsoever, and he can submit this game to many publishers. So I strongly recommend to learn. If you want to submit prototype, either learn or ask your friend to help you. Do adaptation on Tabletop Simulator and send a link to the publisher. And what stage it has to be working.
Yeah, so that's great. And I wasn't even going to go there, because now being out a little bit and being out before COVID, or just as COVID started,
this is new. TTS is new, right?
Yeah, and TTS is new, and people using it on a heavy basis is new, because they were just using it to actually kind of game, and now they're using it for their prototype. And so my answer to this question is, number one, and especially at Stronghold, I don't want a game that's an idea. An idea just is not going to work. I don't want an alpha stage game. In other words, you got to be deeply into development. You got to be along the lines. You may not be ready, but it's got to be deeply in there. So you're in beta testing, if you know that from computer terms and things like that. You're in the second stage. You've sent it out to some other people besides your friends and your mother, and they've looked at it and they're kind of into it and they've given you feedback. And yes, you need a prototype, and I would say put art on it. Go steal the best art on the internet. You're allowed to do that as long as you're not selling the prototype to people to make money. You can take Space Game, go get the best Star Wars art. It's a farming game. You get the best art about showing grass and fields and things like that. You just slap it in there. And as Ignacy said, you create a prototype now. Now you do it. You definitely would have done it before physically using Game Crafters or somebody like that, or you cut the cards. But now Tabletop Simulator is phenomenal, because one link takes a little learning curve. It's a pretty big learning curve, but it's doable. And it certainly is a lot cheaper to use that than it is to make all those things yourself, or to go to Game Crafters and send them all over to 20 different publishers, or to 5 or whatever number you're going to do. So all of that stuff needs to get done. Peter Van Hoek, who's at Pieter VH. Hey, Stephen and Ignacy. This is related to the event deck section. Perhaps Asmodee changes its replacement policy. As far as I understand, it will have to contact the shop where we bought the defective game. I don't get it. Shops can't handle replacements properly, can they? At Asmodee, they probably have a huge stock of replacement parts, whether or not it's from damaged games. Why do they need to go to the shops first? I mostly buy from a shop that's 45 minutes drive away, but to get in the car for an hour and a half back and forth in traffic for just a small replacement is only bonkers. So he wants to know why they made such a move, and I guess what do we think about such a move? And it was kind of strange when we all heard it, but I'll tell you what the answer to this question is. The cost to Asmodee or to any publisher right now for sending replacement parts is through the roof. In the United States, every piece, you send one piece that's not in an envelope, like a card. If say it's one card, sure, that's cheap and easy. It's an envelope, a flat envelope, and whatever the price of postage for an envelope is, 55 cents, something like that. That's easy. But if you send a die or a meeple, you can't put it in there, and it's going to cost $4 now to send it within the US. If I had to send it to Europe, it's $14, one meeple. So it is just too expensive. So what Asmodee has done, they said, okay, you have a problem with the game, you go back to the retailer gives you another one, and then they will get credit and get a new game from Asmodee. That process is cheaper than the process that I said. Ignacy, anything else?
Yes, I have one challenge for Mr. Stephen. If you can do some investigative reporting and
reporting.
Yes, and ask a couple of your friends who own stores how it policy is perceived after the year or what is in act, because actually we never heard a follow-up how it is developed. So it may be interesting follow-up from you. And the answer to Peter, Peter answered himself once again, to quote him, to get into the car for a 1.5 hour drive just for the small replacement only is a bonkers. This is exactly the case. There's so many replacement parts that you actually don't need. It was so easy for the customer to just send email and say, hey, I should have 50 meeples, I have only 49, please send it to me. And this publisher, Asmodee, had to send it across the states, as Stephen mentioned, paying thousands of dollars, and they decided, let's cut it, let's make people, let's demotivate them. And now if you have to drive, you say, okay, I can play with 49 meeples, I don't need this 50 meeple. It's brutal, but it's money, and that's why Asmodee is a $2 billion company.
That's right. I will see if I can get an answer from anybody. I have
yes,
to.
If the stores say
yeah,
people are actually coming or now they are not coming, and the whole program just demotivated customers, and it is no replacement right now.
I'll see what I can find out. That'd be very interesting. I know somebody who I'm going to ask directly. Okay, Joe Aguayo, who's at Middle Class Joe, love it. Hi, Ignacy and Stephen. Ignacy mentioned a few episodes ago that Portal was working on a football game, and he has he put the
lying.
He put the icon for a soccer ball, a football ball. It's really cool, which I copy and pasted off of our website, off of the guild, which I presume is only for the European market. My comment and question are, please bring this to the States. And could you give us a little more info on the game? I think this question is completely answered already, because it's going to be here and it's already been kickstarted, and it's called 11, and I backed it.
And Joe, I hope you backed it too, because I delivered. It's amazing, freaking amazing football game, Football Manager. And I hope you will enjoy it when you receive your copy next year.
That's awesome, man. And Scott Hill, designer. He has he's at Scorpion 0x17. He asks us, do you think lesser known designers are fairly compensated for their work when they often lose money overall due to the expenses involved in helping to promote their designs after they have been signed? And how can the industry change to offer a fairer deal to them? Well, Scott, I'm going to take this first. I don't think that you or other, as you say, lesser known younger designers are not being fair. I do not think you're not being fairly compensated. And the reason is that even bigger designers don't get a particularly larger amount of money. They get a little bit more, get a slightly higher percentage, but they're still getting something similar. Their games sell more, right? That's sort of the concept. When their games sell more, they're going to make more money. Obviously, some game designers have made millions of dollars because their games are that big. I'll just pick the number one designer, the richest designer, you might as well say, Richard Garfield, Magic the Gathering, etc., is quite rich. But he's an exception. And there are other ones that have obviously done very well, Klaus Teuber, Alan Moon. It's when you sign a game and you get 5% net revenue, it's the only thing that we can offer as publishers. Can't offer more. The money's just not there. You got to trust us on this. We can show it to you on paper too. We could talk about numbers, but really there's no other model. And when you say expenses involved in helping to promote, well, what does that mean? Are you traveling to the conventions? Well, the company, if they say come, if they insist that you come, so to speak, then they should pay your expenses. If you're there just to help because you were going to be there anyway, and you're promoting the game, well, you're helping yourself. You're helping that company, helping yourself. So it really depends on what you're looking to do here. Are you looking to make money in this industry? Very hard. It takes years and years and years and many games and getting a hit game. That's what's going to make you money. If you're just looking to get your name on a box, you may not make that much money, but you'll have the pride of getting a great product out, hopefully with a great company. Ignacy, anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to make very clear that at least at Portal Games, we treat designers quite similar. So I had the honor and privilege to work with big names like Rob Daviau, Mike Selinker, or Bruno Faidutti lately, and also with the first timers like Christian Kurla or Michael Kendricks, designers who were doing the first game with me, and the contracts were not very different. Like as Stephen said, there is not many choices in this contract. Like we have this amount of percentage that we can offer, and there is not a big pool for changing it because of the budgeting of the production of the game. So it may be the case that if somebody is so famous like Bruno Faidutti, he might be invited to Essen by some publisher because they want him to be at the booth and sign games, and this is like a big event to have a Bruno Faidutti, and maybe you as a first timer will not be invited and pay the plane ticket. But besides that, I believe that all designers are treated equal, at least with my experience.
Agreed. And another thing I want to mention about designers and how much respect I do have for them. I mean, I even created the Great Designer series, right? And I wanted to highlight, for new gamers especially, that these people, are in the top pantheon of the designers out there, and wanted to show them off. Of course, they already had a name. Most of them had a significant name. Some of them were just up and coming, but really, really significant, like a Jeff Engelstein. So I wanted to put them out there to show people that these are the great people that are doing things and moving the market. I have ultra respect for designers. Obviously, we couldn't have games without designers. We have to understand the economics of the way that this all works.
And I almost made it to this great game designers series by Stephen, but then he got retired before I.
You would have made it. You would have made it.
Before I submitted, it was too late.
You are a great designer. That goes without saying. All right. In the meantime, let's get over to play testing.
So we are fixing today the editing, the way the podcast works based on your feedback. So what is happening today is that we will ask the question, but no Stephen and no Ignacy will answer today. You will answer this question on the thread, and we see each other next week when I will answer this question, Stephen will answer this question, and we will read your comments and your answers. So now is a change in the schedule of the podcast to follow up your feedback, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Oh. So you decided how? I see. I didn't even know this. How about that, guys?
I thought this idea is so smart.
You're so smart. So we're
It
gonna
just works.
so we're gonna ask one question one week and then take the answer the next week. Is that, I mean, is that sort of how we're gonna do it? Then we'll talk about
No,
the
we
answers.
no, we just today we are giving a question.
Yep.
We are not answering.
We're
And
not
since
gonna answer.
No.
Okay.
And since next week we are answering this today's question, and along with reading what people said, and then we can do it every week.
Okay. All right. Let's see how it works.
I'm a game designer. It works.
It works. It's a game. All right.
So our question for you, and this is the question that will be for us next week, is what is the average number of times you play a game in your collection? And of course, this question is based on the famous complaint of the players that replayability is so important, and they honestly say, actually, I played this game only twice. So be honest with us. Be honest with us. Be transparent. Give us a data, and not give us this one game that you love and you played 100 times. Tell us about your average collection game. Average game in your collection, if you played it five times, 15 times, or maybe just 2 times. I will be honest, I will provide next week data from my app. I have an app in which I record every single game that I play. So I will have a strict data, and I will be very honest with you.
So you're asking, what's the average number of times you play
particular game, one game?
The average, like, because right, like you said, there are games that you know, it's like a card game, say, and you've played it hundreds of times, and then of course you get the shelf of shame, right, where you've played all of these games 0 times. So do you want them sort of to average the whole thing out? Okay, that's interesting. I don't even know what it would be for me, but I guarantee it's going to be a small number. I'll think about it. All right, guys. So that's the question. What's the average number of times you play a game in your collection? Ignacy right now is going to create a thread on Board Game Geek. For you to answer that question, please go to the Guild on BGG and find our play testing thread for this question and post your answer there. Meanwhile, let's go to final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or now watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our Guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also go to our Guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Stephen's page, which is /Portal Publishing and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com and podfathergaming.com. Please go there, sign up for our newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Stephen and to Ignacy. On Twitter, it's @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. Same on Instagram. And on YouTube, the channel names are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. We look forward to seeing you at an upcoming convention as the world reopens. Board Games Insider is professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. And if you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. And that great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work for you at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, I see you typing something special to report right now, so go for it, man. Tell us what the secret information you're going to reveal right now is.
So this is a thing that we cannot discuss yet, but of course we are spoiling, we are teasing, we are giving you some hidden information. This week we had the official confirmation from Legendary for the title of the next Dune game. As we mentioned many times in this podcast, Dune House Secrets is the first part of the trilogy of the games that have one big connecting, amazing, epic story. And this week we had a green light for the title for the next game. That means that we can start working on the cover, because on January 22nd is a PortalCon, and we will reveal the title of the next game, we'll reveal the cover of the next game, and we will give you a glimpse of the story that it will be describing. So things are happening. PortalCon is coming closer and closer, and these new covers have to be ready for that moment. So very excited.
That is really cool news, actually. And even though you're not telling us what it is, you're going to reveal it at PortalCon, which is, the dates are?
January 22nd.
One day. And you're going to be up there like Steve Jobs or what's the new guy's name? Cook.
Yep,
Cook.
Tim Cook. Yep.
Tim Cook. And you're going to be up there on stage. You're going to give the presentation. Why don't I appear again?
Yeah, that would be cool.
I was there 2-3 years ago in video, right?
The whole room was just laughing out loud when you showed up in this video in your
my bathing suit.
Oh my God.
Almost.
Like, people were not believing what's happening. The whole room was laughing.
Awesome.
That was fun.
I should do that again at my new outdoor kitchen bar that I'm going to have outside, and invite everybody to have a drink with a little umbrella in it. How's that? All right, everybody. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Take care.